New project on the bench. With me being furloughed, they're coming in thick and fast, and this is a beautiful thing. And I'm not entirely sure of a model, but it is a PRS Custom 24 with Piezo. Look at that. That's why I've got the extra knob here, which is a blend pot. So you will have a, I imagine, a volume, tone. You've got Piezo off or on. Piezo pickup under each saddle there, and this will be a blend. We'll blend the Piezo into the normal pickups or whatever, or you could maybe you can have the these pickups off and just the Piezo. I don't know, I've got no idea. There's one way to find out. We do have a 5-way switch, standard 5-way switching on a PRS. I'm going to have a guess at this. 1, full humbucker. 2, single coil, or no, full humbucker and one of these single coils. 3, both humbuckers on. Position 4 is, there'll be 1 slug and 1 coil, so it'll just be 1 of each, I believe, single coil, and this will be full humbucker in the neck. That's more or less how it goes. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, lovely looking thing. Obviously a glued in neck, American, so it's handwritten serial up the top there. Beautiful looking guitar. So what's it need? Well, I've been told it just needs a setup. And we need to block the tremolo. He wants the tremolo blocking off, so we're going to do exactly that. We're going to block the tremolo at the back somehow. We'll find some wood or something to go in there. So it's just going to be in. It's going to be hardtail basically, isn't it? So we're going to get in there, tighten all the springs up, get a nice block of wood in there. So it's just nice and level and flat. Tremolo won't be used, and that is it. I will scoot across the frets with the fret rocker once we've got the neck straight to see how. Level of frets are. I'd imagine they should be perfect, but we'll see when we get there. Fret wire seems to be medium jumbo ish, getting up to 2.7, 2.8 millimeters. I'd have thought wide. It does have a Graphtec type nut on there, which should be absolutely fine. So yeah, looks good. So I'm going to check over the setup, get it plugged in, listen to a few tones, find out exactly what everything does, see what the blend pot actually does do, and see how it all works. And we'll get the strings off and have a look at the frets and take it from there. With the neck straight, I've been across the frets. There are only two high spots on the whole of the fingerboard. In cases like this where only 2 need attention, I just charge £5 a fret, so I'm going to have 10 quid on there. So all I'm going to do with this is it's just going to have a regular player setup, which is my cheapest setup. It's £50 for a player setup. Everything gets done, everything gets checked, but no fretwork as such. If you need electrical or fretwork on top, you go for an intensive setup, which is £80. This doesn't need an intensive. I'm going to go with a regular setup, £50. I'm going to sort the 2 frets out that are high, another tenner, £10, always £10 extra for the tremolo, and I'm going to charge £15 for fitting the trem block. I bought a trem block device which is coming from Poland. It's not here yet. I'll show you more of that and explain more of that when it actually gets here, because it'll be a lot easier to show you than to explain it to you. So this is going to cost, we're looking at 85 quid. That's it, all said and done, all the price of the tremolo box. So it's going to cost Vincent, it's going to cost him £100 for this, which is, you know, it's decent. But yeah, not a lot for me to do. Just these 2 frets here, frets 3 and fret 4. Fret 3 is high across the whole length. Fret 4 is high just on this side here. So I don't need a load of work. I will spot level those. I'm not even going to bother filming it. Something else I had to do was to alter the truss rod. Now, one thing I like about his PRSs is they are similar to a Gibson, where they have a truss nut. Now, the thing is with PRS, you can't get a normal barrel in there. Like the Gibson one, you can't do it. You need a shorter barrel because there's not a lot of space, but it does go right in. It gets right in there, but it's a shorter one. It's a 2-way truss rod, so one way loosens it, the other way tightens it, and you can put back bow in it, or you can put relief in it, so you can curve it whichever way you like. This is nice and straight. Now, another thing with the scale length on PRSs are a 24 or a 25-inch scale length. This one being a 25. That's why I have 8 different sizes of these. Not straight edges. 25-inch. Neck is nice and straight. I'm going to leave that neck straight as it is, because normally your neck's dead straight, when you put string tension on there, it gives you just the right amount of relief. I have found that to be true in the at least 95% of cases. So yeah, lovely guitar. It's got a little bit of fretwork to do down here. Once that's done, I can basically restring it and start getting the tremolo set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the tremolo up as it should go. I'm going to set it ready for the little device I'm putting in there. It's basically on a spring-loaded screw on a little stand, and you screw it into the bass or underneath the guitar, 2 screws, and you line up, and what you do is you alter the screw until it rests on the block. There's the block, there's your tremolo block there, and the screw rests on it, and you can alter it on a spring and a screw, and what it does is it stops your block there. It can only give you down mode, you can only dive bomb, you can't pull back, and what we do is we just tighten the springs the other side, and it makes this a stop tail. That is what Vincent wants, so that's what we are going to do. Not a lot more to tell you. All I'm really going to do is get these frets done. I'm going to get the frets polished. I'm going to treat the fingerboard. Once that's done, I'll be getting the strings back on. Like I say, I'm not going to be filming all of it. It's getting a little bit dark now. I've got a lot of work on, and you know, well, that's it. So once I've got the strings on, we've got the tremolo balanced, I'll bring you back in and I'll explain what else we've got to do. But like I say, I'm not going to film me polishing the frets. You've seen me polish frets before. I've got 2 to level, this one here, this one here. I'll check them again with the fret rocker. Just go across again now, the neck's settled, and we'll see where we are. I'm also going to treat the fingerboard with some lemon oil, mineral oil, specially formulated for the darker woods, ebony, rosewood, think Palferro, stuff like that. It will lift the grime, it will also treat the wood, and you know how that works. And that's it. We'll make sure the pickups are covered so we don't get any detritus or oil or shavings or anything in there that doesn't want to be there. I will be finishing the polishing off with some steel wool, so make sure the pickups are covered. We don't get any iron filings in there and whatever. You know how it works. And that's it. I've done as much as I can do on this guitar until I receive the part I'm waiting for. So we have new strings on there. I have a tremolo set perfectly level. I have a spring at the back removed, ready to fit the trem stopper in there. You'll see there's a piece of felt in the back there, sponge stopping the springs making a noise. I'm going to cut that middle piece out where I've removed the spring, because that's where the trem stopper is going to fit. Also, I've tightened the claw springs or screw or the claw all the way into the body, so it gives us more pull on the tremolo, which means once we've got it set in that horizontal position, it's going to be virtually impossible to bend it forwards, and we can certainly not go backwards. So that is going to give us a basically a fixed bridge. A couple of things I've got to do: just check the intonation again, check the radius on the saddles. I can do all this off camera. Make sure I'm happy with the string height above the 12th fret. But I'll explain more about this when I actually do the final setup. But like I say, all I can really do now is wait for the trem stopper device to get here. So I'm going to put this back in its case, and I'm going to leave it until whenever that is, or whenever the trem stopper arrives. So back later. Okay, so the little device I need, or the trem blocking device, has arrived this morning. It's taken a while, it's taken about 12, 13 days. But this works on the principle that this goes onto your tremolo block, and this is the adjuster, and that screws into your body, and that will go, or it will sit here between that piece of felt I've cut out from under the springs there, and it sits more or less in there somewhere, and we adjust this screw and place this screw end against this block, and it stops the block moving. So I'm just going to get it positioned to where it needs to be. See how it's going to work. There is a bit of a step down here in the thing which I wasn't banking on, so I'm going to have to I'm going to have to basically build up this area with some veneer before I can install that, because it needs to be screwed down in this place here. So I'm going to build up these, it's like stepped, you can't really see it from where you are, it's kind of stepped, so I need to build that up with some veneer, give me a flat base to screw this into, and then I can drill some holes and we can get this screwed in. So I'm going to get everything, I've got to remove the strings and everything, didn't realise. Can I do it without? Let's have a look, see where we are. I think if If we get that right up on that edge there, we might just be okay. All depends where the screws are going to go. It's going to be very, very tight. Anyway, I'm going to get the tremolo removed again, remove the strings, blah blah blah, and I'm going to see what I can do. But I didn't really think that through. But anyway, we'll get it sorted. Give me a few minutes. But we do have a problem, something I didn't see coming, and I should have realised before. The piezo has a PCB, which is sat right behind the tremolo block here. And I'm unable to fit this device, this locking piece. You see that piece of brass in there with the screw, with a bolt through it and on a spring? That is the locking device. And so now I've got to remove that. And the problem with that is that took me about 35 minutes to get that in there, because I can only get an Allen key in there so far. And I'll just grab the Allen key and a bit of a mare. So I'm left with a piece that I don't need, that I've paid for, from Poland. And to get this out, I've got to put the Allen key in, sort of like here, and just turn it a quarter of a turn, then go back and turn it a quarter of a turn again, and so on and so forth. So it's going to take me over 20-30 minutes to get that out. I've also drilled into the guitar, which we can't undo now. One thing I can do is I can stick that piece of felt back in there for the spring, but we cannot block this tremolo because of the Piezo PCB board in there. Something I should have noticed, I didn't see, and that is very, very clear to see now. There's a PCB board, but that bolt hit that board, so we can't block the tremolo. It's going to have to have it floating. I've already talked to him. He says keep the money for the device, blah 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 blah. I'm going to give him 15 quid back, and I'll use it in a future projects, maybe even on one of my own guitars. But we're going to have the tremolo floating now. So unfortunate that I've drilled 2 holes in there, and I've shortened one of the screws ever so slightly, but it's not going to alter the way the guitar plays or looks. So you know, just one of those things. But anyway, I'm going to crack on, then I'm going to come back and set the tremolo up for floating. Just one of those little jobs you don't normally see, and that is just tightening the tuner or the machine head screws at the back. Some I've done. Then we just need maybe a 32th of a turn just to nip them right up. We do work loose over time. It might even be 1/64th of a turn, but listen, they are just clicking into tightness like that. One more, last one, and that's that done. Just put the back plate on. I do have to put the truss rod cover back, and we are set up. I've set the tremolo up. I've set it up fully floating. I've done it off camera. You know how to set one up. I've done plenty of videos on it. Got it floating really, really nice. Nothing we can do about getting that blocked. Forgot all about the Piezo PCB myself. In fact, I was not sure how the Piezo actually worked. I thought all the electrics were actually inside the under here somewhere, not behind the tremolo on a PCB. I never knew that. Now I do. Something else I've just got to do while I'm here. Can you see where we are? Just about barely. Just turn you around a little so you can see what's what. This is really tight. You can hardly move it, this tuner. That's because of the screw at the end there, it's too tight. And we're just going to loosen that. So just little things we check. That tuner's not right. And let's just plug it in. I worked out what this switch does, by the way. In the switch that way, it's just normal electrics. In the middle, it's normal electrics and piezo, and in that, it's just piezo. That's what I think anyway, so we'll find out. No, anyway, whatever. And that's it, we are all set up. I'm going to move the camera back to where it is and we'll tie this video up. And we are all done, or as much done as we can be. So let's recap where we were with this. It came in just needing a setup. It's had a setup. A couple of frets needed attention, and Vincent did want the tremolo blocking off. So we went and bought a tremolo blocking device from Poland. It took 2 weeks to get here. And once I'd fitted it, once I'd drilled the holes for it and chopped a bit of the end off one of the bridge screws, we found that we couldn't fit it because this part that is supposed to rest on your block was actually pushing into the PCB on the piezo. So we couldn't use, or piezo, should I say, piezo pickup PCB, which is glued right behind the tremolo block. I didn't know that. So I had to undo that work. It was a right bind getting this in and out because I had to, what's the word I'm looking for? I had to do it basically a 16 for a 32 for a turn at a time with an Allen wrench because I couldn't get a full Allen wrench in the slot. So that was a bit of a ball ache. That's cost me some time. It's also cost Vincent some extra money. I've given him the money back for this device. Even though I don't particularly want it, I did want to try it out anyway, which is good news. So I will use this possibly on one of my own builds later on, or I will palm it off. I won't palm it off. I'll use it in a customer's guitar sometime in the future. So I've given him the money back for that. He's let me keep the £15 extra labour, which I think is fair both ways. But yeah, a little bit of fretwork, which I knocked him some money off for that anyway. Got a lovely setup here, nice low action, straightish neck, just with a tiny bit of relief, probably 0.2 millimeters under the 7th fret. We've got the tremolo floating very nicely, perfectly horizontal there. We have all 5 tremolo springs back in. I put that piece of foam back I cut out as well. So a couple of problems on the way with this one, but you know, it's all good. It's a shame we had to drill a couple of holes in there. It's not going to alter anything about the guitar, and only me and Vincent know it's there because you lot don't know. Oh, hang on. Yeah, anyway, so that is it. It is a PRS 24 standard piezo model, or piezo, or whatever you call it. Beautiful, beautiful guitar, top of the range, and but it is all done. So one thing left for me to do is to remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. Just before I do go, I'm still open during COVID. I'm actually furloughed, so I'm not working for Royal Mail at the moment. I could be going back in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. I could be going back in 2 or 3 months. I don't know, I've got no idea. So I am open, but I do not encourage anyone to break any lockdown rules coming to me. So understand that. I don't encourage anyone to do that. You know, but I am taking guitars in. I am having guitars shipped to me. I'm having necks shipped to me. I can always meet somewhere if you are heading this way. If you're in this area, you could drop round, whatever, but I'm not encouraging anyone to break any laws or break any lockdown restrictions. If you do end up coming to my workshop, there will be no entry at all. You'll be wearing a mask, you'll knock the door, you'll stand back and I will open the door. That's the way it goes. But anyway, that is it. So obviously, until next time, God bless you, be good to each other. I'll see you in the next one.